Welcome back to La Pausa, a pints and punditry podcast here at the Pitchside Pub. This is episode EO11 on Monday, February 26th, coming off a Carabao Cup final that was, on paper, should have been a thriller. If you didn't watch this and you just looked at the box score at the end of the game, you would have seen a 1-0 game with a late goal and a goal called back for VAR. You would have seen extra time and young players coming on in stoppage time, and it should have been a thrill. This should have been the game of the year, on paper. But it wasn't. It was just okay. I won't call it a dud, but it wasn't great. It was all right. It looked like a couple teams going through the motions, knowing that this is not the most important tournament on their schedule. And that's what it felt like, and that's what it looked like, and that's about what I think it was. Everybody wanted to win, but, not at the expense of anything else, and that's sort of the problem with the Carabao Cup. So we're going to talk about a lot of topics here today about this, some takeaways, not of the game itself, but of just sort of what this competition means and the state of it and everything. So we're going to get into that today, but before we do, make sure you hit the subscribe button for me if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, make sure you follow the podcast. Episodes coming out every Monday and Thursday. Get in that comment section on either platform. I would love to know your thoughts on the Carabao Cup. Liverpool fans, how excited are you about this? Is this a big deal to you? Feels like it now that you won it, but, if you hadn't, you would have said, no, it's the Carabao Cup, who cares? And that's sort of the problem with this tournament. And, of course, follow us on Twitter, at Pitchside Pub. You can get the conversation going there at any time. That's the issue with this tournament, the Carabao Cup. Liverpool, congratulations, it's a trophy. Technically, it's a trophy, but is it one you're excited about? The Carabao Cup seems to be the sort of thing where it's almost like the preseason Super Cup tournaments that they have in every country, where you've got the winner of the league last year versus the winner of the domestic cup play each other in what is sort of an exhibition but has a trophy at the end of it. And they don't count. These one-game competitions, that doesn't count as a trophy. When you say, oh, we won 3 trophies this year, that doesn't count as one of them. Is one game. And the mentality is sort of, if we win it, yay, we won a trophy. But if we didn't, oh, it was an exhibition. So it's sort of a no-lose, but it also doesn't really count. And the Carabao Cup has a lot of that feel to it, too. Obviously, it's not a one-game competition, but, if Liverpool doesn't win this trophy, they're going to sit there and go, yeah, well, we got bigger fish to fry. We got an FA Cup, we got a league to win, we're in the Europa League. Any of those would count more. And by the way, lest you think I'm biased here, I would say the same thing about Manchester City's Club World Cup trophy. It sort of counts, but not really. When they go out and line up 5 trophies in a row, and that's one of them sitting next to a Premier League trophy and a Champions League trophy, you're like, really? Are we counting these? We're really counting these as 5? It's like 4 1/4. I mean, it just doesn't count nearly as much. So this is not an anti-Liverpool thing. Congratulations to Liverpool. I'd love to hear from some Liverpool fans about how excited you are about winning this trophy, because I know darn well that if this is the only trophy you walk away with this year, you're not looking at this season as a success. If Chelsea had won it, they might have. I think they wanted it a little bit more because their last couple seasons have been such a train wreck, and it would have been something, right? It's something. But it's sort of the consolation prize of trophies. And teams want to win it, but not at the expense of anything else. It is clearly the 4th of 4 potential competitions for those that are in the Champions League, and the 3rd of 3 potential competitions for those just competing domestically in England. So it's nice if you win it, but no one's going to put their chances of winning anything else at risk to win this trophy. And that's sort of what we saw. And I think we saw that with the team selection and the players that Jurgen Klopp used. I don't know exactly what's going on with Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah's injury, but it appeared from all reports that they were a possibility to play yesterday. And they ended up getting sort of a late scratch type situation. But you do have to wonder, had this been the FA Cup final or a Champions League match in the round of 16 or a league game towards the end of the season or against Manchester City or Arsenal, a game that really, really mattered, would they have played? I can guarantee you the odds were higher. Again, I don't know if they're fully cleared, if they truly were hurt, but I can guarantee you that if they were sort of 50-50, and they would have played in a important league game, but they're not going to in the Carabao Cup. And that's simply because, yeah, it's nice to win this, and you could see the joy in Jurgen Klopp's face, and that's great. But not at the risk of winning the league. Imagine he pushes Mo Salah to start this game, and Mo Salah pulls a hamstring and misses a month of the Premier League and costs them a few points here or there. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable to win this tournament. And that about sums up what the Carabao Cup is. It's nice. And if you win a bunch of trophies, it's nice to make it 4 instead of 3, or 3 instead of 2, or 2 instead of 1. But it's not something you're going to go out of your way to win, which is why in other videos, when I talked about the FA Cup, I talked about scrapping this tournament. Because, well, what's the point of a tournament that no one really cares if they win? Or that the only teams who care if they win are the teams like Chelsea who have, don't have anything else going for them right now. They're not going to win the league. They're not in any European competitions. So yeah, they want it real bad, but only because they have made themselves a second fiddle type club. So what's the point of a competition like that? And when I suggested that this tournament be scrapped, in favor of the FA Cup, I got a lot of pushback about the history of the cup, and I respect all that. It's not that I want it to go away. It's just that it's completely redundant. And if teams attacked it the same way they attack the league, then I'd be all for it. Have as many competitions as you want till the players get hurt. But they don't. That's my issue with it is, if you listen to my stuff, whether it's the podcast or the videos on YouTube or the things I tweet out on Twitter, you're going to see some common themes. And one of them is competitions should ultimately reflect who played the best in the competition, who the best team was. Well, if half the teams are really trying and half the teams aren't, it's never going to reflect that. Do we really think Chelsea was the second best team in this competition? No. They just actually sort of wanted to win it, whereas some other clubs did not. And so it really does make you question what the point is and just how, real, for lack of a better term, this sort of trophy is, or this, how much this counts as a trophy. But nevertheless, it's a piece of hardware. And Jurgen Klopp, hey, look, he got one under his belt in his retirement, his farewell tour. So good for him. Good for Liverpool. I'm really not trying to poo-poo this. I think this is sort of the mentality Liverpool had going in. And now that they've won it, they're going to celebrate it like it's a Champions League title, right? And of course, once you win the trophy, the legitimacy of that trophy goes through the roof. And that's somewhat to be expected, even if it's hypocritical at best. But for the rest of us looking at it, I think it's, okay, well, that was something to watch on Sunday. But it wasn't an enthralling game. Klopp brought on a bunch of teenagers who, again, credit where it's due. They came on and they won the game, and they were clearly well coached and ready to go. But would he have done that if this game mattered? Would he be rolling out all these teenagers? And I know they've got injuries. I know they do. And that's what he had to work with, and they're into 30 extra minutes of extra time, and so he didn't have a whole lot of options, but I'll bet he would have had more if this was a more important game. That's just my hunch. And the fact that we say, if this was a more important game about a cup final, tells us everything we need to know about that particular cup final and about that particular trophy and about that particular competition. It's there. It's okay. It's nice to win. Nobody's losing any sleep over it. Except maybe Chelsea fans who didn't have anything else to play for. You guys would have liked the trophy. You win some, you lose some. In this case, you lost some. You also win some and lose some when VAR gets into the mix. And there was a VAR call that I guess by nature becomes controversial because it took a goal off the board in what at the time was a scoreless game. And there was about a half hour, 40 minutes there where it looked like that decision may be costing Liverpool a trophy, regardless of the importance or the legitimacy of that trophy. It looked like that was a goal that came off the board, and it looked like that was possibly going to cost Liverpool if Chelsea went ahead and got their goal, or if this went to penalties, or God knows what. And so naturally, it has some controversy to it, and Liverpool fans were all up in arms. And of course, there's a massive, massive bias when it comes to VAR. First of all, everybody hates VAR. But there's always a massive bias when it goes against your team. And all of the biases and all of the hypocrisy come out every single time, and it's really just painful to watch. Particularly when VAR got the call right. And that's what happened here. this VAR call in the Carabao Cup game that took Liverpool's goal off the board was the right call, and it's really not even close. And if you are a Liverpool fan or just a VAR hater who thinks it was the wrong call, your bias is showing, or you don't understand how it works. The call was that the defender covering Virgil van Dijk was blocked. And that in and of itself is legal. It was basically a pick was set, and that in and of itself was legal, except the pick started by a player who started offsides. And that can't be done. You cannot be in an offside position when the ball is kicked and in any way impact the goal being scored, including setting what was otherwise a legal pick for the guy covering your teammate. And that's exactly what happened. This was cut and dried. Credit to the broadcast, the ESPN halftime show, for calling that out and getting it right. But this was not actually a controversial VAR call. VAR got this one right. It was right to take it off the board. It was the right call. It was offsides, or I guess an illegal pick that started offsides. And Liverpool fans can be as up in arms about it as they want. But it was right. And we all love to hate VAR. And listen, VAR is not perfect. But they got this one correct. They got this one correct. It just happened to be, taking the only goal off the board in an otherwise scoreless cup final. So the magnification of it is just so much higher. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean it's wrong. VAR needs fixing. But the concept of replay belongs in the game. And one of the analysts on the ESPN halftime show, and forgive me, I'm not sure who it was, but he said, would we really, if for all these people that want to scrap VAR, would you really have rather had this cup final be decided on a bad call? And at the time, we didn't have Virgil van Dijk's eventual goal to win it. It was still a 0-0 game. And had they not overturned it, it would have been 1-0 Liverpool, and that would have ended it. We never would have gotten the legitimate goal, and this game would have ended on a bad call. Is that really what we want? I don't want that. Even if I'm a Liverpool supporter, I don't want that. I don't want to have my already tainted trophy tainted even further by the fact that it was gifted to me on a bad call or a non-call or a missed call. There's nothing worse than winning something legitimately and having everybody discount it for other reasons. I know, I'm a Manchester City supporter. Happens with everything we win. So you don't want that. So does anybody really prefer the game without VAR? I mean, listen, there may be a better way to do replay, and it would have to be renamed because the VAR name is just so tainted at this point. But replay has a place in this game. It needs to be done better. It needs to be done correctly, but it has a place in this game. What does not have a place in this game? And luckily for me, and I know I'm going to catch heat for this, and I do not care because I believe this so firmly, I am so happy the Carabao Cup final did not come down to penalty kicks, because penalty kicks are dumb and they shouldn't be in the game. And I know I'm going to get the, oh, you're American, you don't get it responses. Fine, bring it on. Maybe I don't get it, because I don't get why penalty kicks are a part of this game, and I don't get why everybody loves them. Yes, they create drama. You know what else would create drama? Killing a player every 10 minutes like it's the freaking Hunger Games. That would be dramatic. It still wouldn't make for a good soccer game. So why do these games end in penalty kicks? Keep playing, add extra subs, add deeper benches, do whatever you have to do. There are other ways to solve these games without the coin flip that is penalty kicks. I am so happy that this game did not come down to PKs, because it just takes the entire 90 minutes, or in this case 120 minutes plus stoppage time of effort and blood and sweat and emotion that went into that game, and it throws it out the window. We could have just solved this in 10 minutes if we started the game. I hate penalty kicks. I know we had a dramatic World Cup final that had them. I would have loved to see it 30 more minutes of that game. I don't tell me it's because of drama. Yes, penalty kicks are full of drama. There are lots of ways to create drama that do not help you get to the proper end result. And I'll go back to the common theme that I always tout. The point of the competition is to crown a champion based on who was the best at the game. Who was the best at this competition? Well, penalty kicks don't help you decide that. They are a tremendous equalizer for a weaker opponent. Penalty kicks level the playing field for an opponent who was able to just barely skate by. And in a sport like football that is so low scoring, and at times you can do everything right and still not get the end result, it is the great equalizer for that team that just wants to park the bus and hope to get nothing out of the game and hope to get to penalty kicks. And how often do we see teams go into these extra times and one team is just trying to run the clock out so they can get to PKs because they know they're struggling. They know they're running out of steam. They know their bench is weak. They know they're the inferior team. So let's just get to penalty kicks where it's a much more level playing field and maybe we've got a chance to steal a win. Is that fun? I'm sorry, that's not fun. I don't enjoy that. So just because it creates drama doesn't mean it's good sport. Does not mean it's just because it's good for television, you're on the edge of your seat, doesn't mean it is a good quality sporting endeavor. I hate penalty kicks. I don't want them anywhere in the game, and we've got to find another solution for how we can determine these games because penalty kicks are the ultimate coin flip, and they completely negate the actual spirit of the competition. They are outdated. They are antiquated. They are nothing but manufactured drama that does not result in a viable outcome for a competition. That's my rant. You can hate me because I'm American. You can tell me I don't get it because I'm American. I don't care. It's stupid. We got to get rid of them. I'm so glad that game did not go to penalty kicks. To me, that would have made it even worse than the sort of monotonous game it already was. Let me have it. I know I'm in the minority on that one. I don't care. I believe that so firmly. Penalty kicks are just the dumbest thing ever. They are the Foden and Saka debate of football rules. That's how stupid I think they are. VAR, not great, but has its place if it's done right. Needs to be fixed, obviously, but replay has to be in the game. You got to get these things right. Give me goal line technology, everywhere. Give me all this stuff as long as it's implemented properly. But hey, lots of opinions on this. Get in that comment section, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify. Hit me up on Twitter at PitchsidePub. Tell me I'm an idiot. I don't care. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify so you can get more of these opinions that you think are ridiculous. I would love the feedback. I would love to get the discussion going because that's the whole point of this channel is to have the back and forth that I'd like to be having in a pub with a pint of beer in front of me right now. But it's Monday morning at 11:45 a.m., so I can't do that. But make sure you're subscribing. That way you can follow us when we have an episode again on Thursday. That's going to do it for us today on episode 11 of La Pausa, a Pints and Punditry podcast here at the Pitchside Pub.